Hi, and welcome to my review of Giants bobbleheads. Today we'll be taking a look at the bobbleheads that were given away by the San Francisco Giants. We'll start off with Willie Mays. For those of you who don't know, Willie Mays is the very first bobblehead of the modern era. The San Francisco Giants wanted to create a special commemorative bobblehead based on what were given away back in the 60s, the kind that were made of paper mache and ceramic, kind of the nodder type that you see in people's cars. This was for, I think it was Turn Back the Clock Day back in 1999. I think it was, let's see, May 9th, 1999. It was a stadium giveaway. They made 35,000 of these, and it was the very first bobblehead. It's made by the same company that makes them all right now, Alexander Global Promotions. And based on the success of Willie Mays, all the other bobbleheads that exist today in the modern era all are based on the success of Willie Mays. So following Willie Mays, a couple of years later, actually the very next year when they moved into Pacific Bell Park, they created another one. This is Barry Bonds, his godson. As you know, Barry Bonds, back in the day, wasn't always bald. He did have hair at one time in his life, and he did have that gold cross hanging out of his left ear. Barry Bonds is posed with a bat. The giveaway was sponsored by the Chronicle, as were many of the first generation bobbleheads, and he has his name on the back of his jersey. I think kind of similar to what they used to do. They no longer have the names on the back. After that, 2001, I think 20,000 of these bobbleheads were made of Willie McCovey. Willie McCovey was posed in the 1970s uniform. He's got the black hat with the orange trim. He's got the 1970s type logo, the Giants font, number 44. Again, another giveaway that was sponsored by the San Francisco Chronicle. He's got McCovey on his back, his name, his number. Willie McCovey, for a lot of people, very much beloved, primarily because he's McCovey. He spent his whole career, for the most part, with the San Francisco Giants. And following that, in 2002, they had a lot more bobbleheads. They actually had two separate bobbleheads. First generation bobbleheads, I think, were so difficult to make because they didn't really know what they were doing, and they really couldn't gauge the interest, and so they didn't make as many. This is Orlando Cepeda. Orlando Cepeda, number 30, the baby bull, came over the Giants. Unfortunately, was traded away to the Cardinals for, I think, Ray Sadecki, and they should have gotten a lot more for him, but they didn't. 2002 giveaway, I think there are 20,000 of these made. He's got his bat, he's got his hair. If you don't know, Orlando Cepeda actually now has his own statue in front of Pac-Bell Park, over on where the street stops. And also in 2002, later in the year, another 20,000 of the Rich Aurllia bobbleheads were made. And you'll note the first generation bobbleheads, they really couldn't do a lot with the way they could pose him. This is somewhat historically significant. I think Rich Aurllia is the first bobblehead made by the Giants who did not have a bat. He's in his defensive position. He's in an infielder's crouch. Rich Aurllia, number 35, played shortstop. I think ever since he came up, and he came up in '96, sat around for a little while, and eventually became an everyday starter, especially all through the World Series. Rich Aurllia, if you don't know, is currently the last tenured Giant who played at Candlestick. So once Rich Aurllia retires, that'll be the end of the era for us. And last but not least, the first generation bobbleheads is Russ Ortiz. Russ Ortiz, for those of you who remember, came up in '98 and immediately, I think, won 18 games and 17 games. Absolutely an eater. Russ Ortiz here is a limited edition bobblehead. He's got number 48, Ortiz, in the back. He's wearing his jersey. He's got a great smile on his face. This was a Giants Reward Club giveaway. There's also another version of the exact same bobblehead given away to the, I think, group leaders. People who sold the most tickets were also given a very special Russ Ortiz bobblehead. He may be the hardest one to find if you're looking for a first generation bobblehead. In addition to these, I think there's also a one for, what's his name? Eric Davis, and I think there's also a similar one that kind of looks like this, made by Vita Blue. But first generation bobbleheads are kind of distinct from all the ones that are done in previous generations. The fact that They look a lot more like the ones in the 60s. Their legs are very stiff and boxy, very cartoony kind of look. You'll note that all the legs are very stiff and there's almost never a gap between the legs. The feet are outrageously big and they're very large and disproportionate. You'll notice in the current generation, when they have better artistry and better technology of how to craft these things at a large scale, they're able to do a much better job with the craftsmanship of it. Overall, these bobbleheads, the first generation up until 2002, were almost all made the same way. You can kind of take a look across the board here where most of the bodies are very similar in shape and size. If you're looking to add these bobbleheads to your collection, more than likely you'll find them on eBay. I think Willie Mays here, because he is the godfather of all bobbleheads, as well as being Willie Mays here, will probably go on eBay for somewhere around $200 to $400 in that ballpark range. Barry Bonds, because they made so many Barry Bonds bobbleheads, will probably go for about $150 to $300. McCovey, which is very hard to find, will probably retail somewhere around $150, $200 in that range if you can find them. Orlando Cepeda, probably around $100. I've seen them as low as $50. Rich Aurllia, very hard to find, as well as Russ Ortiz. You can probably get them for about $50 on eBay if you look for them. If you're trying to acquire bobbleheads and you don't have them at all, best time to get them at a decent price in the off season when most people are not thinking about baseball. If you do have them and you want to sell them, now is the best time to try to sell them and make some money and pay out some bills. In any case, this is my review of the first generation Giants bobbleheads. I'll be reviewing the others at a later date. Thanks for watching a little film. Go Giants. Bye.